Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm delighted that you have joined us. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff and Tam Cowan are with me on this Thursday. It's an exciting day for everyone because quite simply, last night's 90 minutes and beyond in Eindhoven produced a brilliant result for Rangers. They are into the Champions League group stage draw, which takes place this evening, and it's absolutely fantastic. Great result for Rangers, Ruffy, and they deserved it.
Yeah, they certainly did. We spoke about it for the last 3 days, how we hoped it would pan out. We all were going that we hope they just sneak it, and that's what they did. They went out and put a professional show on. I said it was all important that they got the first goal, which thankfully they did, and then they could really play the European style of football and say to them, right, what have you got? What can you got a goal in you? And they didn't have a goal in them. And all credit to the Rangers players. Rangers as a football club, 12 years. If you've been in the Champions League, it's amazing. And I feel really happy for the supporters as well, because they went through a rough time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. Marlon, Mark, Andrew Davison, Thomas, Anne Wood as well, Tommy Adams, Greg and Norman. Lots of people quickly getting on, and I think lots of them will want to talk about the performance. Let's not mince our words here. It's not about Eindhoven and what they failed to do, Tam. I thought Rangers made them look mediocre.
Absolutely, they did. I thought they played it perfectly. You need to credit Van Bronckhorst with the lineup and with the tactics and the way they approached the game. And the great thing as well, I always see it for the perspective of a supporter of a wee diddy club. The great thing about having Rangers and Celtic now at the top table, the Champions League, that is the only platform in which we can see them getting rumped. So it's very refreshing, because they do it to us all the time. But only when Celtic, you think back Rangers, mind Juventus, was it 4 or something, and then of course Celtic cricket scores they get put against them with Barcelona and PSG. So it's very refreshing. It's the only chance punters like me get to have a wee smile.
Well, dare I say it, Tam, when you look at the evidence of what Rangers are producing, okay, away from home, they've had a few results which haven't gone their way, but they've been able to get back to Ibrox and then knock the teams out. The one against Dortmund was certainly sensational.
Yep.
That one last night I thought deserved great credit because of the way they set their stall out. I mean, he had them so well organised. Now, you're going to get chances. PSV had chances in the game.
Yep.
But Rangers had really good chances.
Well, you'd argue the debate. I mean, Tom Lawrence, that was what a goal that would have been.
Yeah.
And that was the paintwork basically kept that out. Just a tiny bit lower, and it again and off the underside of the bar. I mean, the finishing for PSV Eindhoven, I thought was appalling. And when you saw it, I think the stats, the minute they came up on the screen at the end of the game, it was very, very level. So nobody can make out that Rangers were lucky or they got a lucky breakaway or anything like that. That's a nonsense. It's great. Brilliant having, and if we get the hat trick, I know we'll come to that, but that would just be superb.
Yeah, I mean, Ruffy, John McLaughlin, I think deserves credit. He made an absolutely super save, I think, from Gakpo in the box.
That particularly, I've been saying Alan McGregor was a European night goalkeeper, but John McLaughlin, and all credit to him, has went in, taken over a really, really hard mantle to take over with Alan McGregor. And last night, didn't have a lot to do, but he made the big save at the big time when he came out and blocked that boy. So, all credit to him. I thought from 1 to 11, every one of them were superb. I thought every one of them put in a shift. I don't know what the scores were in the papers today, but I'm sure it would be all 8s and 9s right through, and it just shows you it was an absolute complete team performance.
Yeah, the other thing about it, Tam, which I don't think there's any, I don't think they're going to be fined by UEFA because of the nature of it's away from the official UEFA jurisdiction, but, they've had fireworks going off in the hotel, which kept them up. Then they've had the bus, with the longest journey to try and get to it, with all the PSV Eindhoven fans again creating havoc with the Rangers bus. They wanted the kick-off maybe put back a bit. There was none of that. So there was all these obstacles as well, which in the end acted as an incentive for Rangers.
Aye, and then we're without their European talisman, if you like, and Alfredo Morelos. Yeah. But, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that pans out now.
What do you think should happen?
Well, I'm a Motherwell fan, but the minor straw poll that I carried do it with 3 or 4 pals who follow Rangers, one of whom was there last night. It seemed to be their thing, let's just hunt them. We got into the Champions League without him. The senior players have already kind of stepped back for him. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst came out and absolutely roasted him. I think if Rangers could get any sort of sensible money for him now, they should let him go and move on. I think he's had his time. I don't think he's got the right attitude, and for him, when they were trying to get properly match fit by hopefully having a full game against Hibs, and then he gets involved in that stupidity. And I know you could argue until the cows come home about, it wasn't an actual elbow, it was more like a fling of the arm, but he's been there and done it, right? He shouldn't have gone near anything like that now. I thought he badly let his club, let the fans down at Easter Road, and frankly last night it would appear they didn't miss him. So they've got to move on. Aye.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting one. I mean, I must admit, Ruffy, I share Tam's view on it. If I was Rangers, I'd let him get as fit as he possibly could. And then, if they could get somebody to bite to take him off their hands, of course there's going to be extra money. Financially, it's a great move for Rangers because they're going to get, upwards 35, 40 million. When you think of, I always think it's difficult to gauge because you get other money that comes in depending on your points. You also get the revenue from the 3 matches, and you get that whole kick from the merchandise as well. So there's lots of money to be made. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst hinted last night that he's hoping that there's money there to strengthen the squad before the transfer window shuts.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I've had that talk that Tom's talking about Morelos. He's ready. He's already said he's had enough of it. And if you've had enough of it and you're not going to take him to Europe, he's as well moving.
Aye.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rangers have told his agent, I know there's not a lot of time left, but if you can find somebody, because you have been touting them for the last 2 or 3 years, so if there's anybody on your checklist and the money that you're talking about agrees with us, let us see what it is.
Aye.
I think this is the time, that if they get a reasonable money in light of the money they're getting, I'm just saying 10 million, it's another 10 million into the pot.
Do you know another thing, Tam, which I think a lot of people might not be fully aware of, but in the cold light of day, I think the Rangers board will be aware of it. For the board members over the last few years who've put their hand in their pocket and given out loans, without any real pressure to get the money back, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst in the last 12 months has basically delivered not only the money all the way through to the Europa League final, but this Champions League kitty now, I think it changes the whole dynamic of Rangers Football Club, because if somebody says, okay, can I have my money back, fine, because they're now on a really stable footing and they can now go and build on their success.
And the bottom line is that, make no bones about it, if Rangers had lost last night, there suddenly would have been a wee bit of pressure on Van Bronckhorst. It doesn't matter that he got them to the Europa League final. The very fact that Celtic are already in the group stages of the Champions League, if Rangers had come a cropper last night, then there would have been questions asked to Van Bronckhorst. So I was he seems a likeable enough wee guy, so I was quite happy for him last night as well. And you could see what it meant to him on the touchline at the end. He was absolutely jumping for joy. So the big debate now, of course, Peter, and I can get your thoughts on it, and I can certainly get Ruffy's thoughts on it as a Partick Thistle fan, and I know we'll almost certainly lead with this on Saturday on the radio. It's a good result for Scottish football, ? Because there's just as many folks saying, Celtic guaranteed 40 million, Rangers guaranteed 40 million. What chance have the rest of us got,
Yeah.
But I must say, and I've already disagreed with one of my pals on this today, I think it's a good thing for Scottish football, because, if you get Rangers Celtic 40 million, if you didn't give them 40 million each, there's still the gap between them and the others in Scotland is still insurmountable.
Yes.
It's a huge chasm, the cash difference. So I don't really think it's going to make any real difference. But I'll quite happily take the coefficient points, because if Motherwell sneak into a wee 4th, 5th, whatever, we can get another wee European trip ourselves. I'll quite happily take the cash that comes with it to the teams in the top flight. And I would certainly, as I've already stated, say it was good for Scottish football fans, because, and we're hoping Hearts can complete the hat trick, if we are going to be able to if you don't support Celtic, Rangers or the Jambos, if you're able to go out with your pals, as I did last night, and now watch games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with a pint and Lanhorn and a packet of salted nuts and the other, absolutely brilliant. Bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of people sending us messages, Ruffy. One of them says, Peter, the way you positioned the cup, it looks as if you get giant ears. so I'll move over a wee bit, Ruffy, so it doesn't look that way, but excuse me, nevertheless, a lot of
really, nobody actually said that, but Peter thought, right, enough of this talk, not Rangers. Let's drag in the real trophy. You forgot about it.
Because quite simply, most of the feed is Rangers will do better than Celtic, and that's the joy of it, because we can't wait to see the type of teams that are going to come out.
Yeah, well, I really hope that both of them get two really good top teams, because they're not going to qualify. I don't think, at this moment in time, I don't think they're good enough to be second in a group. So I hope the fans get a treat with maybe Real Madrid, Barcelona, a top English club, and just enjoy the games, enjoy going to venues that you can get to, Spain, down in England, just enjoy the whole situation.
See, if they got what looked like an okay group and it wasn't glamorous, I think that's the worst scenario, because these teams obviously are still good, they've qualified, and you could still lose to them and you can still then get bumped into the next
I'm
tournament.
saying they're not good enough to get second, but we all wishes you want to think they can get second, but it'd be brilliant. But you see the quality in pot 1 and pot 2, it's just super. And just be a wee bit picky, getting back to that solidarity payment. Why is it only the SPFL teams that get the handout?
Because
they only get a handout.
Yeah,
it doesn't get down the divisions.
Yeah,
trickles down.
No, it doesn't.
In some shape or form.
No, it doesn't. They're the only ones that carve it up.
Well, wait a minute. Why should you get some?
Because we're part of the party, really. We're part of the Scottish Football Association.
It's only you can only
the SPFL get the 350,000.
Right,
Motherwell will get 350,000.
Right, what I was going to say there was, but it's only
get more than 350,000.
Oh, if Hearts get in it, I'd be
Celtic and Rangers, I think that gives you more money, Tam.
Well, what I was going to say was, it is only the top flight clubs that can qualify for the Champions League, but let's say, for a matter of talking, that next year the Scottish Cup final was won by a Championship team.
Yeah.
They would go into the Europa League. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then let's say we'll go with Partick Thistle. Let's say it was Partick Thistle.
Yeah.
Then they win the Europa League the May after that. That would then give them qualification for the Champions League. But in all that time, they've never actually got promoted. Yeah. So then you would have Partick Thistle in the Champions League while you're in the Championship, and I think that would be very unfair.
I think immediately, I know it'll come up in the feed, but have you lost your marbles, by the way?
I shouldn't have picked up whether Davy Martindale left lying there.
You're going to get battered. A lot of people, and here's a good one. Cameron says, Alan Ruff, I don't think they're good enough to get second. We've been outstanding in Europe for 18 months. So Cameron's clearly saying, get a grip of yourself.
Well, if Cameron can come back on tomorrow, once the draw's been made, then we could maybe discuss it.
Sorry, who's he, Celtic or Rangers?
Oh, Rangers.
And in the second tier. A third tier,
yes.
Second tier, right. So this is a different ball game, and I totally agree with Ruffy. What you want, if I could put myself right in the mindset, Celtic or Rangers fan, I think, bring on the glamour, because you've got that wee parachute now, right? It's not as if if they lose out in these group stages of the Champions League, that's then done with European football. It's won only too well. They've got another two Liverpool, Man City. It'd be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, the one thing I was going to say is quite simply that Rangers fans are, I think, rightly excited by it all. Very proud of what Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has achieved, and over and above that, it's been a long road, and the Rangers manager was quick to point out it's been a long wait for them to get back to the Champions League group stages.
10 years ago we were at the lowest point we have in history, and it took us really hard work, everyone involved, from building the club back again to the level we achieve now. So it's a proud moment for me to also thank all the people who gave so much energy and time to build this club back again.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been on that journey. I know a few Rangers friends of mine, Ruffy, were texting me this morning saying, they're back, and rightly so. I think it's one of those journeys where I can remember, the hedge up at Brecon. It's been a long road back to getting to the group stages and hearing that Champions League theme, and I think Rangers fans will absolutely embrace the 3-game package.
Yeah, and I hope it's the case that the Rangers supporters who bought into it when the times were bad, the season ticket holders, I hope they get first divvy the tickets when they come out. The ones that have hung on in there for 3-4 years.
Sadly, it never works that way.
No, that's going to be one hell of a computer program, isn't it?
I know. I sing for that hymn sheet all the time, Ruffy, but that's never the way it works in football.
Well, it should be.
I know.
It should be. They're the ones that should get the reward.
And you'd hope that true fans, weren't priced out of it. The guys that effectively did give the club the kiss of life, did the old Lazarus act to them. They're the guys that you've got to look after. But it never happens that way.
Can I tell you something, Tam? And this is why I think Rangers will. I mean, it's obviously based on the draw, and the draw takes an eternity. I mean, I thought we might stay on, Ruffy, and actually, look at the draw as it unfolded. But it's they roll out three or four legends, and then this guy comes out and takes 55 minutes to explain why there's only 3 balls in pot 1 and 3 in pot 2.
Half 7.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But the one thing that I think, and I'm undecided on Celtic on this, and I'll tell you why I'm undecided, but the reason why I think Rangers could do well is because on the evidence of last night as well as so many other games, whether it was Steven Gerrard, but more so now with Van Bronckhorst, they're organised. They try at times to play the high press, but when they need to drop in, they drop in and keep it tight. And the reason I mentioned that was because I was reading an article on UEFA about Real Madrid's victory over Liverpool. And Carlo Ancelotti said, we knew what way they were going to play. Lots of clubs now are playing high press football and have their back line very high up the park, so that at the halfway line, and some teams who are really good can play in behind them. Real Madrid in the final opted to sit back and let Liverpool come on to them, and then they picked them off and got that one solitary goal from Benzema. I think Rangers at the moment have that real organisation to play European football. Everybody here is wondering whether Ange Postecoglou's side are going to try the high press, and will they be able to pull that off?
Yeah, because you go back to who was almost the comedy team, the Bodo, what were they, Bodo slash Glimp. You go back to things like that. When you look at that, what chance have Celtic possibly got? But that'll be a learning process for him as well. And there's no doubt when just when you watch Celtic in the league, some of their stuff is a joy to watch. And all right, it's very different. Last weekend they were looking great on the ball against Hearts with loads of players rested, of course, but if they can somehow transfer that, and again, the usual cliches, they talk about the big European nights, Parkade and the atmosphere and full house and all the rest of it, then you never know. But I'm sure then again that if they did have to take a couple of hidings along the way, they would much prefer it to be against proper teams. Get a Man City up at Ibrox or Parkade. It'd be great.
It'd be brilliant. Just on the game, Ruffy, just a couple of things I think I need to mention. I thought Tillman was absolutely brilliant.
He was excellent.
A lot of the Rangers fans on here are saying Sands had his best game in a Rangers jersey. But the one thing that was really telling was the press. I mean, PSV Eindhoven, the goal that they lost was just, I think it's indicative of the modern game. Why would you want to play passy in your own 18-yard box? Rangers were on them right away and got the reward.
Well, that's doing your homework. That's really looking at videos and analysing them, what they do, and which certain players think it's an easy way out and they take it a wee bit lackadaisical. So, no, they've done their homework in that. It is a done thing now that you build up for the back, 2 centre-halves go wide, and if they're comfortable on the ball, then you give them it. I mean, we saw it way back Man City, remember?
I know.
Kid. The goalkeeper was getting them at like 2 yards out for the 6-yard line. But because they were so comfortable and they knew people in the midfield were making runs and they were getting out, but if you've not got players that can't play that, you're going to get caught.
Yeah, and do you know the funny thing about it? I mean, last night I watched the player, Rolamo, I think his name was Ramolo, and his mistake. He had a wee look up, Tam, and he saw one Rangers player there. But he forgot to look the other way, and all of a sudden Tillman's on him, and then boom, in goes Cholak, the man that Hugh McDonald said didn't look as though he was going to score too many goals. I think he's going to get 30 this season.
He looks the part. He looks the part. He's doing the business. But what I liked as well, incidentally, I don't know. Okay, I'm sure it was tactical as well, but the fact that the PSV Eindhoven player that made a backside at the Rangers goal, that he got hooked off right away, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. The manager's having none of it.
I'm sure there might even have been a Dutch commentator saying, "Oh, and that's tactical." I'd like to think he said, "Look, this is a huge game. This is for us to get £40 million, and you've come up with that. Beat it."
Yeah.
You know.
I'll tell you another thing, Tam. When you look back at everybody and the fallout from it, I think whether it was a bit of arrogance or not, PSV Eindhoven are absolutely flabbergasted that they're not in the draw.
Aye, no, they don't deserve to be. As I say, they had so many chances last night. Rangers would say as well, according to the stats, ditto. But some of the shooting and all that, and as I was saying in the preview of today's show, Peter, we always think they're the first to say, oh, the Dutch teams, oh, the German teams, oh, the Spanish, oh, technically they're brilliant, you know, and their left back can create chances, and their right back could play keep you up with his eyes shut and all that. But I thought technically last night, certainly when they were having a crack at goal, I thought they were appalling.
Yeah, well, I think, a great credit to Rangers because they made them look mediocre, Ruffy, in the way they went about their business. Some of the nice football that sometimes, as you say, sometimes I think whether it's the Scottish nature or just of late, we don't think we're as good as we should be. I thought some of Rangers' play last night was really good. There was a wee spell where they had a real grip of the game and then it swung the other way. But then the most telling moment was when they got the goal, they were able to close it out. Everybody needs to ride their luck a wee bit, though.
Yeah, of course you do. And you know, if you're away from home, the other team's going to get chances. But I said the other day there that I really, really hope that Rangers got the first goal, because when you get the first goal, the pressure's on them. The pressure's now on them to go, God, we've got 40 million. We're about to lose here. So then you've got to players start to worry about how the game's going and everything. And in all credit to Rangers, the organisation was good. And I agree with you, away from home, they're a wee step ahead of Celtic in European football. They seem to be more, organised. But that's the way that the Celtic manager wants to play. But it'll be interesting to see if he changes that away from home, not at home. I think you want to see Celtic still attacking. But away from home, he might have to have a wee second thought about it, because to get out the group, you need to win your home games and get a point away from home.
Yeah.
I get something away from home, so that's a crucial one.
You know, the biggest compliment I can pay Rangers last night, in fact, pay the game last night, takes two to tango, and it was a cracking game. I was willing to miss a curry if it had gone into extra time and penalties. Now, it was an 8 o'clock kick-off, wee bit later than you're used to maybe in midweek, and again, because it was midweek, the restaurants only necessarily open as late as you would like, so I was doing a wee bit of homework at half time for me and my two pals. We watched the game in the Merchant City, choking for a curry by the time you've had a few drinks, but they were all last tables, 9:30, 9:45, etc. We got one in Albion Street in the Merchant City. I'd been to before, very nice. And he said, 10 o'clock, Tom, would that be all right? And we thought, yep. And then we didn't want to let the guy down if this goes into extra time and penalties, but we would have let him down. It was it was unmissable. I would have missed a curry to watch that last night. I can't say higher than that.
I was just about to say, Ruffy, that's when you know that you've got the team by the short and curlies, Also, I think the dates that everybody will be looking forward to, match day 1, 6th, 7th of September, then it's 13th or 14th of September, 4th and 5th of October, 11th and 12th of October, 25th and 26th of October, and then, match day 6 is the 1st and 2nd of November, and then the round of 16 draw is the 7th of November. Now, I'm just reading them out, Ruffy, so that if you've got gigs, it's up to yourself. I mean, we're going to be going to some of these games away from home.
There's no Friday
nights, but there'll be Tuesday, Wednesdays.
Tuesday, Wednesdays are no problem. Tuesday, Wednesdays, no problem. That's not far away.
That's not just a way to say.
Far away,
I know.
And then you've got 4 Scotland games.
Aye, and in quick
at the end of
succession,
September,
because of the World Cup as well. Yeah, there's not really much a gap between the rounds. Am I correct in
Yeah,
saying
you're
that?
right. Yeah, because of the World Cup. You're right.
They're the ones, you know what, Peter, and I date all the time. I date with my whole games. Like we, for example, we've got Inverness, Cali at him on Wednesday coming, and because that's at Fir Parks midweek, as you know, I enjoy doing that. We'll get a wee. Boys will take a wee half day and we'll get a wee couple of bevies in the afternoon, nice meal, and then go up to the game. That's the sort of game I've had in my diary for ages, so you make sure nothing clashes, you know. Yeah. And I'll do that as well. When I see the draw in front of me in the newspapers tomorrow morning, I'll get the diary done and you'll make sure all the ties are in there.
Yeah,
and nothing gets in the way.
That dinner here was just slipping right out the window, isn't it?
Oh, we're never getting that dinner with him, by the way. It's no chance. Pot 1, by the way, just quickly before, because we're going to switch. Hold on a second. We're going to switch.
When he says pot 1, pick a team that you want in it.
Yeah,
your group.
We're going to switch to Tynecastle shortly. I've got 3 minutes, so shut up and don't give me something that's not in the script, okay?
Go.
Pot 1, Real Madrid, Eintracht Frankfurt, Man City, AC Milan, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Porto and Ajax. Pot 2 is Liverpool, Chelsea, Barcelona, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Seville, Leipzig and Tottenham Hotspur. And then pot 3, you've got Borussia Dortmund, Salzburg, Shakhtar Donetsk, Inter, Napoli, Benfica, Sporting and Bayer Leverkusen. And then pot 4, with a joy to see it, Rangers, Dinamo Zagreb, Marseille, Copenhagen, Club Brugge, Celtic, Victoria Pilsen and Maccabi Haifa. I mean,
right, tell me yourself then, who in that pot 3 is the most glamorous of those? Let's try to get the ultimate.
I'd go Milan.
Milan, right, so let's say for Celtic or Rangers, let's get the group of death, however they would call it, but the total A list. So Inter Milan, let's work our way back up.
Yep.
And then pot B, who are we looking at there? Liverpool?
Yep.
And then Real Madrid.
You want No, nobody wants Barcelona.
Real Madrid, Barcelona, Milan and Rangers.
And Rangers or Celtic, it'd be great. Yeah. Imagine at the merchandise. I mean, they've got, for the.
You're not getting Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Rangers in one group.
Because is that a definite? Yes. You can't get two for the one country.
For my fellow Diddy fans who do disagree with me and think that it's terrible, Rangers, Celtic, and all the money. That's only the money they're getting from UEFA, of course. They've got all the other money, the TV rights, the tickets, and then the merchandise. If you're put in groups like that, they've already, it would appear, Rangers get this "We're back" slogan seemed to be everywhere overnight and today. I guarantee they'll be making T-shirts up with that already. So millions and millions and millions.
Okay, we've got a couple of minutes. It's 16:28, which means 2 minutes from now on this world clock. I'm going to go over to Tynecastle to speak to our man Adam Binney. That's why you're not used to
the world clock.
Yes,
to Edinburgh.
Well, I was just about to say Edinburgh. The reason why I said that, because I don't know.
It's spot on.
It's spot on. It's right on the mark. Okay, and we don't want to miss him being there and having a wee chat.
The boy over there's going free.
Yeah, that's what happens in the studio now. It's so professional, and the reason why I want to talk to Adam is because, quite simply, we've got Hearts on the horizon.
Another great game to watch. Beautifully poised. Forget I know they'll never do it because of the cash and the telly and sponsorship and all that, but I've said it for long enough. The first leg of any two-legged game's absolute guff. Pointless, meaningless cack, unless one of the teams wins 10-0 or something and makes the second game redundant. I mean, second leg, that's what it's all about. I wish I was going to Tynecastle tonight. This will be magic.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic, of course. It's nicely poised at
4:29.
2-1. Shut up.
The world clock.
It's 2-1 at the moment, and I have to say, having watched the first leg, that it was just one of those games that I thought Hearts played really well in, and were unfortunate to lose 2 goals when Craig Halkett obviously went off and then they were exposed. But I got a feeling that this could be a big one, and FC Zurich, can Hearts overturn that 2-1 deficit and get into the group stages of Europa League? It would be absolutely sensational. And with that in mind, Edinburgh, we've managed to get our man sifting through all the rubbish, and he's found an area where there's not rubbish there, and with a bit of luck, Adam Binney, who's a reporter out at Tynecastle, can set the scene for Hearts against FC Zurich.
Thanks, Peter. I'm outside Tynecastle Park this afternoon ahead of Heart of Midlothian's crucial UEFA Europa League playoff round qualifying match against FC Zurich. In the first leg it was 2-1 to Zurich, but there was a lot to be impressed about from Hearts in that opening 25-30 minutes. They were very good. They showed great signs of dominating the match and got that crucial goal through Lawrence Shanklin, the penalty kick just around the 20-minute mark. They will be hoping that they can replicate the success of Rangers last night, who seen off PSV to go through to the group stages of the UEFA Champions League. This is the second tier of European football, but it's absolutely not less important for Heart of Midlothian. There's two main reasons as to why this match is so important. The first one being what's at stake financially for the club. Qualification to the group stages would earn Hearts nearly 3.8 million alone. That's before you even take into consideration anything that may be earned from potential TV revenue. In addition to that, they could earn £600,000 for every match they win in the group stage. And also for the country, for Scotland, it's great to have this many teams doing so well in Europe. Should Hearts advance to the group stages, that would almost solidify Scotland's spot in 8th position in the UEFA coefficient ranking. That would guarantee the league winners an automatic UEFA Champions League spot for not next season but the season after. The closest challengers, Austria, are 3.8 points behind. They still have 5 teams involved, so to have 3 teams in European competition will be massive for Scotland this season. It's a little bit of a calm before the storm outside Tynecastle. It's quite quiet, but there are fans making their way towards the ticket office to collect their tickets for tonight, but I'm sure come 7:45, 8 p.m. this is going to be absolutely rocking inside Tynecastle. It's a huge match, and you can stay up to date with all of the happenings from the match on our social channels on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, as well as getting the reaction from the managers and the players on tomorrow night's football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm really looking forward to it. Peter, back to you in the studio.
Fantastic. That is what you call live from Tynecastle, Ruffy. Adam on absolutely blistering form sets the scene because he knows, and he's just mentioned it there, if Hearts get through, it could be 7-8 million. Brilliant.
It's fantastic, and I would talk about the night that the Rangers and Celtic supporters are going to have. This is a fantastic night for Hearts supporters for where they were so many years ago. You know, they've hung on in there, contributed to get the club back to where they are in European football. It'd be an amazing night, and I'm like Tam, I wish I'd be there as well.
It is one of those nights.
You know, I'll be slightly harsh here as well, but you know what I'm like, my outlook in football, Peter and all seen it for the fans' perspective. I think Hearts owe the supporters who went through to Celtic Park, they owe them a performance tonight, because I thought that was shabby last week. We know the reason Hearts did it, right? They're looking at this one tonight, and at least 5-6 of their top players or first team starters were left out of the game at Celtic Park. Disappointing when you look at the league table in the whole, and Hearts are one of the teams that I'm looking at to, you know, in fantasy world to kind of try to lay a glove on Celtic and Rangers at the top. But I would like the club, and this has happened on other occasions, I think Hearts or Robbie Nielsen should have come out maybe on the Thursday and said, by the way, before you travel to Celtic Park, just to let you know, I'm not putting out the first team. Because lo and behold, they went there, they didn't get a single shot on target in the entire game. It costs a lot of money to get a ticket to get into Celtic Park, you know. So I think they've got to come out, all guns a blazing, make up for that last week. Let's not forget their director of football, or whatever he's called, head of football operations, Joe Savage. He was talking at the start of the season that forget about all Hearts getting into Europe or Hearts getting a decent finish and all that. He was talking about we should be thinking we're going to win the league, you know. Yeah. And there's certainly no date with that approach at Celtic Park.
I think Joe had it's always a thing on this show. I think Joe had a couple of cans of Kestrel. There's always that enthusiasm at the start of the season.
See one thing, by the way, it's been bugging me, and I just saw it there. Your young man Adam, who's been a revelation. I think he's been really good when I see him in his reports. I've just remembered to it as he reminds me of. And the next time you look at him, I really hope you watch it. Do you watch Two Doors Down? Yes. Aye, you know how the wee guy's English boyfriend, you know the wee guy, it's the Scottish boy, young boy in it, but his English boyfriend, Adam's his double. Is that right? He knows the mouth, the hair. Aye. And I'm sure Adam will be delighted that you've pointed that out. Because on here they've got him as a Sean Ryder lookalike. They've got everybody's just commenting on how good he was. I get Zac Efron quite a lot.
Yeah,
who's he?
Absolutely. Well, it's Zac Efron after he's gone off the rails. To be fair to you, he was in The Greatest Showman.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I just got Harold Bishop and Pauline Quirk, Birds of a Feather.
Sam, brilliant.
Gilbert Doberman for Phil Silvers.
That's only, thank God that's only for a certain age you'll get that gag.
Actually, in a plane, come off a plane in Paris and was in the airport in Paris, and a boy thought I was Gerald Depardieu.
Yeah, I can see that with the nose. Yeah, I can see that.
And also, I was in Australia, and the boy thought I was the crocodile boy that fought the crocodiles.
Paul Hogan?
No, the other one.
Oh, I
can see that. The guy that died, the stingray got him or something. Steve Irwin.
Yes.
Yeah,
I can see that.
For that. Yeah, I can see Steve Irwin. Is this before the crocodiles got him, or after it? Pre, right. Okay, right. Just need to clarify that. Anyway, thanks to everyone who's saying good luck to Hearts tonight, because we genuinely hope that the Jambos can book their place as well. Tomorrow we'll go into
the story about the real crocodile hunter.
Go on.
And he got a bit too close to one, and this thing just grabbed him, and it was starting eating him. And his colleague, ran round through the clearing in the jungle, and it's just the boy's head sticking out the crocodile. And the guy says, "Look at that flash you get with the Lacoste sleeping bag."
Tomorrow on the programme we will talk in depth about the draw and hopefully some of the glamour ties. I have a sneaky feeling, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to take a wee stab at these things, but I have a sneaky feeling that there's going to be one of the English clubs in a Battle of Britain routine.
I just think statistically, if Rangers hadn't got through last night, it was only Celtic, you think they could have dodged the glamour, but just statistically, you don't need to be a mathematician. The minute you get two of them in there, there's every chance of all sorts of fun and games. It's going to be great. Yeah. And you reckon that the draw will be finished by what, next Tuesday?
Yeah, well, honestly, I mean, it does take. I don't mind, because I like seeing some of the old legends coming out. But as soon as the boy as soon as the boy comes on and says, "Listen, there's only 3 from pot 1, and they can only play 4 from pot 2," you're thinking, "Oh, come on, just get on with it." You know, I like the old days when it was a free for all. By the way, round 1, you're up against a tough team, nail luck, you're out.
You know, a year they made a mess of it. They had to start again, they had to throw the balls back in.
Yeah, I think there was actually, Ruffy, they had to start again. You need Rod Stewart for these draws, to be honest with you. Anyway, apart from anything else, good luck to Hearts. We'll talk about the draw in the Champions League in depth tomorrow on the programme. Also on tomorrow's programme, I can tell you that we will be delivering the Scottish Junior Cup draw. So it's going to take a wee while, but we'll get through all the teams. I think there's 64 ties to be played, so fingers crossed with that. As far as Hearts are concerned tonight, you mentioned it there about the whole thing about maybe Hearts, they owe them a performance tonight. I think that the key point that Robbie Nielsen was making yesterday is very valid. This would be great for Hearts, especially when you consider the circumstances of where they were over the last few years, and how so many Hearts fans really dug deep with their pockets and backed the club, and now there's a chance of European football.
I think it's absolutely brilliant for Scottish football, as a nation, but also individually for the clubs, and especially us. Rangers and Celtic are used to getting in there, we aren't, and for the players to get the experience of travelling to games, playing against different teams, I think it will hold them in good stead for the rest of their career, but also the rest of the season. So it's a great experience for them, and hopefully they see the levels that we need to get to continue to progress.
Well, I make no bones about it, Robbie. I just want Hearts to be there in it. I think it'd be fantastic for that, and I think that stadium is just like Ibrox, like Celtic Park, conducive to a red hot atmosphere.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think if you ask any player, that's played in the stadium, when it's full, it's a wonderful atmosphere. It's really intimidating, and I think that could be in Hearts' favour tonight. But I think they need more than that. I think they need to play well on the night. I think the big players need to play well on the night. Craig Gordon will have to make one of these saves yet again, to get them through the tie. But yeah, I think we all want 3 Scottish clubs.
Yeah, and that was a good point you made, Peter, about where Hearts have come from. Folk forget, correct me if I'm wrong, it's only 2 calendar years since they were in the Championship, effectively. So it's the progress that they've made. He's cuddling her, but I'd wondered about this relationship. Folk kept saying to me, "Is it just platonic?" But it was like he's not playing footsie, and it's quite unsettling. But yes, but you know what I'm saying. The progress of Hearts has been terrific, and you're right. Their fans did save their club. Of that there is no doubt, and the millions that they've pumped in is great. And I mean, it'd be great Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, being able to say to any of your pals you've not seen for a while, fancy a wee pint tonight, who's playing? Oh, take your pick.
Just out of curiosity,
Yes.
is your marriage strong enough that it could take Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
See, that's the other thing. No, you know where it wasn't? No, I'll tell you, my liver wasn't strong enough. Mine when they did, what was that competition in a couple of years ago where it was, you had Celtic and Rangers in the same night.
Yes.
But one game started at 5:55, remember?
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
second one started at 8, and if you made it into the pub for the first one, by the time the second one came round, you're already, that was tough, but no, one game a night is fine.
Yeah,
Where,
is that okay? Wow.
Where are we viewing these games? Please tell us it's a respectable channel.
Oh no, it's BT Sport, it's fine.
It's BT Sport. That's
And with Hearts as well.
the Champions League.
Champions League's BT Sport, isn't it?
Yeah, Champions League and
What about the-
Europa League, I think, is BT Sport
Yeah,
as well.
right,
Yeah, so
great,
you're fine.
great.
The reason why some people will be wondering why you were questioning whether we were really close with each other. It doesn't really work on the podcast because people who are listening to it will be wondering what you're
Aye, you're
blathering
just-
on about. But what happens
You're
is,
touching his arm there, I don't know.
the reason why I touch his arm is because he's
It's
like,
slipped.
I don't know if you've ever seen, do you remember Spitting Image?
Yes.
When they had John Gielgud reading poetry?
Yes.
And John Gielgud would read poetry and then he'd eventually just
Aye,
sway to the side.
I'm rough
What,
doing that.
what happens with him is he starts going down like that and you have to actually push him back up. And then eventually you don't know whether he's giving an opinion or he's half asleep. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
The only thing missing was a shepherd's hook there just to wake him up. But a couple other things I want to mention. I know you enjoyed David Martindale on the show.
brilliant.
We thought he was fantastic.
Great doing it. I told you last week. You know, he was great doing it the touchline, the Motherwell game last week. We stole the. I'm delighted. Obviously, I'm delighted for Motherwell. Really delighted for Stevie Hamill, who was my man for the job. That we got the 3 points. That we're sitting third in the league, which is quite incredible. But it was never a penalty. It
Well,
was just never a penalty.
I'm glad you mentioned that because he still hasn't let it go. He's still raging.
I think our one's outrageous. I think it's outrageous. He's got it totally wrong. It's nowhere near the player's arm. It's really disappointing, to be fair, because I think it's an easy decision to make. I was behind the ball and I knew it well. I thought it wasn't a handball, but to be looking down the line of the ball and seeing the player, I think you've got to understand it's not a handball.
He wouldn't let it go. I'll tell you one thing though, Ruffy, quite right for him to moan about it because it cost them 2 points. In the broad scheme of things, it won't even itself out. They've lost the points. But in here, I thought, people can look back on the show with David Martindale. A lot of people have been very complimentary about it. Sometimes perception and reality are totally different. I thoroughly enjoyed his chat. I thought he was, a coach, enthusiastic, insightful, gave us a real good insight into how he likes to deal with players and how he likes football to be played.
Yeah, he never dodged any question you asked him. I think that's what we like. We like to see managers who come out and get the punters, sometimes they see it the same way as the punters see it. They don't come out and fudge or, I never saw that incident.
Aye.
He comes out, if he
straight
sees
to
it, he'll tell you what he thought, and I think that's good. You should respect it.
And seeing you talk about difference between perception and reality, tell the lovely viewers at home what height he is. Everybody thinks he's a wee guy. He isn't, you know.
Yeah, he was all right actually.
Aye, he's a lot bigger than you think. You don't know. Just to look about him, you expect him to be tiny, but he's not.
His patter was excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed David. Now, hopefully he'll come back on the show again. Of course, he was just one manager who was miffed at some of the decisions. Rangers, Hibs, everybody had their tuppence worth to throw in on some of the decisions over the weekend. Ross County as well. But to Jake Doyle-Hayes, the Hibs midfielder, was talking about the Rangers game, and again, even the players thought that the red cards were not right.
I'd say the both yellows, to be honest. If I was honest, I think his is a yellow as well. He's just trying to break up play. I don't think he was trying to hurt anyone or whatnot. The ref makes a decision and we'll take it. I think everyone that knows about football knows it's sort of a yellow card and the ref maybe made a wrong decision, but these things happen and the refs don't always get it right.
Yeah, listen, the referees, and rightly so, they need help. Can't wait for VAR.
Exactly. Bring it in. We keep saying it because even to the point that there were similar challenges in different games that were treated differently, and I've been pointing out all week there have been cards rescinded. The Lundstrom one. It looked like your classic professional foul to stop somebody running away up the park, and you got a yellow card, and that's that. There will be folk would argue in the spirit of the game he maybe deserved a red because the guy was away and he had no intention whatsoever, but that's not in the rule book, so Willie Collum again at the heart of it. That even me, Peter, who absolutely backs the referees to the hilt. It's coming to the point you think, well, it can't be a coincidence that Willie Collum seems to be involved in so many of these instances. He's centre stage. But on that note, when you look, and I was sitting one of my two pals last night, I was watching the Rangers game with former referee. I thought the referee last night absolutely top notch. He let the game flow. There was one point in particular he played on. There was an attack inside the box, and he was ready to, or just outside, and he was ready to blow. To let it go. There was a goal scoring chance. The minute there was in, it looked like a wee bit naughty. He wasn't shy. He got right in the middle of it. Yeah. Stopped it right away, and in general terms, just let the game flow. I thought he was magnificent.
But I can't believe it, especially over last weekend, Ruffy. And I hope it doesn't happen this weekend. A lot of people are commenting on some of the refereeing performances, but quite simply up at Dingwall, I mean, how Derek McInnes restrained himself, I will never know.
Yeah, it was horrendous. You know, it's one of the worst I've seen for a long time. You know, and I'm surprised the boy never got a serious injury. And again, you'd have to ask the referee, why did you think that was only a yellow card?
Yeah, and Derek McInnes, clearly unhappy with those decisions last week that never resulted in 2 red cards.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a grievance, real frustration, disappointment after the game Saturday. We felt a bit mugged off, to be honest, in the nature of the game, and we felt that we were culpable of allowing Ross County that chance in the dying embers of the game, and we've got to take ownership of that.
Yeah, I don't think Derek likes to duck and dive out of the way of the fact that Killie, need to start getting wins. That was a big blow to them, not getting anything from Ross County. But sometimes even refereeing decisions, you seem as if everything's going against you. It'll be interesting this week. I'm just looking at the fixtures. Tam, we've got Aberdeen, Livingston, Killie against Motherwell, Rangers, Ross County, as you can see, St Mirren against Hibs, and then on the Sunday it's Dundee United, Celtic, and Hearts against St Johnstone. So, the other thing about European football and how it's boosted everything is the fans now, I think, are just galvanised, even in these difficult financial circumstances. I get the sense that fans are going to be flocking back to our game.
Yeah, but they need to remember, all the clubs need to remember the financial circumstances and how people find themselves in, because they had the banners out again last week at McDermott Park, for example, the 20s plenty banners, and I think the clubs need to look long and hard on that. As was pointed out to me, almost in the club's defence, because as a St Johnstone supporter, my chum Mr Cosgrove said to me when I brought this up on the radio last week, he said, but we're saying that the cost of living crisis, it affects St Johnstone as well. So it's maybe not just as easy as them saying times are tough, let's let everybody in for a tenner, you know. But I think now it is getting ridiculous. There was the wee graph that was doing the rounds a couple of weeks ago. Here's what it costs to go as an away fan to the games this week, and the lowest was something like £25, and I think it went up to 35 maybe, and it was Edinburgh Derby. It's just too much, and that's only one person going.
No, exactly.
Thinking about, what the price of fuel is nowadays.
Fuel.
You know what they get away with for a cup of tea.
Your kids.
Beef flavoured water, £4. The kids, you're right, everything. So I think they need to be really, really careful.
Yeah, just another little point, Ruffy, before we go. We've got lots of things that we're going to be discussing on the programme tomorrow, but we talked about at the start of the programme, Rangers, how they'll be excited about getting into the group draw, the type of clubs that they're going to meet, maybe new faces coming in. Celtic have added a player today. He's signed up for 5 years. The player in question is Sead Haksabanovic from Rubin Kazan. He's got the number 9 jersey. It's a 5-year deal. Early indications from the interview, he says he's that type of player who's a playmaker. So suddenly they've got somebody who might either play up there alongside a striker or just in behind a number 10 role.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the Celtic midfield and you have to say to yourself, he have to be a wee bit exceptional, because obviously McGregor's in there, Hatate's in there, Turnbull's in there, so if he's as good as any of the three, I mean, they're just filling the bases, they're just having as many quality players as possible, because now they're in European football. Now you'll need every player you can get for the whole season. It means Rangers and Celtic can now use it as an excuse. So we've been playing Wednesday, Sunday. Yeah, they're getting the amount of players, the quality and depth to cope with that now, so they've got to go on with it.
Yep. So another signing for Celtic there, and I think this is the crucial period coming up, Tam, for every club, because especially when you're talking about Stephen Hamill, who's just bedding in with what he's inherited, but every club will now be looking and saying, okay, it's September 1st. There's been an extension to it for Scotland. September 1st. 1 or 2 signings could determine how your winter's going.
Absolutely, and I guarantee he will bring in another couple of players. Stevie Hamill, the fans have always loved him, but as our full-time manager, they absolutely adore him. When we did beat Livy last week, as I say, dodgy penalty, but that's fine, we'll take it. He was our acknowledging the fans, and then there was a chant, there's only one Stevie Hamill, and I was really struggling. I said to the boys that I sit with, I said, when's the last time you heard the Motherwell fans chanting in salute of the manager? It doesn't always happen that. They love it with bits, and I'll tell you as well, Peter, you wait to see, I'd advise Motherwell fans already, leave early. You wait to see the crowd that Motherwell take down to Kilmarnock on Saturday. It's going to be massive.
Yeah, any reason in particular?
Just the way that he's galvanised the club, Stevie Hamill. We always take a big crowd down there. It's when it came out, when the fixtures used to be done almost as a derby weekend, more often than not, we would get the right in Motherwell play Kilmarnock, and we've always taken a very, very good crowd down there. But that stand behind the goals will be bursting at the seams this week.
Nodgrass went quiet.
I was going to ask Peter about that, if you'd heard anything else. I mean, they were meant to be that St Johnstone and maybe even St Mirren had jumped ahead of us in the queue for Snodgrass, but it's all going very quiet. Have you heard anything?
I would think if I was, I'm not going to get myself in trouble here, but I think Stephen Hamill's trying to pull out every stroke he can to get him in there. I don't know about you, but I think it'd be a fantastic signing for Motherwell. I mean, I can't say I would go to Motherwell ahead of St Mirren or St Johnstone. Maybe St Johnstone's not as attractive to him because they're in the mire.
Just thinking, he's a Glasgow boy, hasn't he? I think he's stated even himself that his next move won't be for money.
Yeah.
He's maybe made his dough. So, a wee hop, a skip and a jump down the M74 for the family.
Yeah.
Well, and it'd be great.
I'll tell you another thing that's galvanised one individual this season, and I'm talking about you, because that wee run you had last week with the predictor has just really, I think it's given you a wee spark again, because you're back now, and as a serious
I've not seen the league table.
Well, the league table, quite simply.
And nobody's seen the dinner table. For me, sorry.
You're as tight.
We'll get that sorted. Wait a minute, for clarity, who have I invite? So there's going to be us 3, Tam McManus, Hugh McDonald,
yes,
and Alison.
And you've got to invite Gabs.
Oh, aye.
We need to bring them.
Part of his fault.
Well, exactly, part of his fault. So you need to bring.
But what about the rest? I'm quite an altruistic gentleman.
Hold on.
Very philanthropic. What about the rest of the team? Have they been left out?
Our producer has just said she's coming.
I'll invite the team. That's the only way to do it.
Well, can I tell you something, by the way? That is a tremendous gesture to bring the rest of the troops. So suddenly it's a staff night out, Ruffy. That is brilliant. You happy with that?
I'll go with that.
Okay, that's sensational.
Date, asking for the
date. Date. You got a date?
There's a lot of football happening and all that, and it's not that long to Christmas.
By the way, can you imagine?
It's going to happen.
Is it?
You don't need. When have I needed an excuse for a wee night out? With a bit of scran at the heart of it.
Is a Sunday a good night? Is a Sunday?
Ordinarily, yes.
I think we'll make it a Sunday, Ruffy. Is that okay?
Sure.
Just come in slightly.
Sunday night.
We'll come in slightly the worse for wear, but nevertheless, a Sunday night is absolutely fantastic.
What was the restaurant you were at the other day? You never mentioned. You're a novice.
You
put a mention up on social media about a great restaurant, the best in the world, and you never named it.
No, I know that because
you try to keep it a secret.
No, but what happened was I put it out in an area where my friends, who obviously know that I lived in Edinburgh for 12 years, and I thought. We were at a meeting.
It looked like an Italian.
It was an Italian restaurant, but we were at a meeting and Anne was sitting next to me, our producer.
Right.
And I thought, well, we take a photograph of the food, because I hate people who take photographs of their food, right? Right. So we looked and we said, well, we take a photograph of ourselves sitting by the food after this meeting to annoy the life out of you. And then I thought, no, we'll just take a photograph of a restaurant and not say who it is, because that'll annoy him, because you'll think, have I been there?
Was it not a million miles from Tynecastle?
No, it was right across from the Playhouse. It's Giuliano's.
Right.
It's my friends who own it. It's a fantastic.
Milanese.
Right.
It's a
I haven't even
fantastic.
seen the photo and I bet he was eating
No, ham
Right.
pizza.
ham pizza.
Yes.
It's handy for you for CC Blooms, just right across the road. Get a wee dance to work off the calories.
Well, if you're in the final, you're in the final. It's as simple as that.
I always thought it was Giuliano's, but there you go, Giuliano's. I've been in there a few times.
Brilliant place, and the Italian guys in there are absolutely magnificent. There are lots of other good
I
Italian.
would go through there
Yeah.
for the meal.
Would you?
I would get, see, honestly, if the guys at Julian's give us everything for free and provide transport, I'll go through there.
Can I tell you something? I don't want to make this an advert for Giuliano's, but I did mention to Anne that we should go there as a staff night out because they take care of you. You're allowed to go up on the seats and dance and sing Saturday night at the movies, The Drifters, because when I was younger, that's what we used to do. We used to all go in there and get absolutely hammered. But everything in moderation now. Anyway, last point I'm going to make to you, Ruffy. What are you going to say there?
No, I was quite glad. A good wind up. My good lady threw into Giuliano's and Miss Saigon was on.
Right.
And after about 10 o'clock, this group of Asian people came in, and I said to her, that's the dancers for the show.
Yeah.
And she'd obviously had a few. She went up to say, well done, what a wonderful show. It was fantastic. It was just a bus load.
Just tourists in Edinburgh. That's awful.
You know what? I thought knowing your wife, as I do, you were going to say she threw up over the cast because that's Ruffy's wife. She throws up over celebrities.
She'll be watching.
Absolutely. But that's it. It was fantastic. Can I just say, Tam, could you do this for me?
What? Yes. What?
And wish him the best as well, just before we go. A big shout out to Declan Screen, is a young boy who's actually been selected for Scotland's pro youth team, and he's also going to start at the academy as well. Declan, from everybody on the football show, we hope you make it to the very top. You never know, Ruffy could be sitting on this couch in the next 10 years. And
that's a name that'll stick out. All the best to you, Declan Screen.
It's an unusual
The first
name.
thing I'd ask him, I've got a sends up annoying pals of mine, but the minute I hear a strange kind of particular surname, I always like to get the story for people where it comes from, because I've never heard of any other person called Screen. Have you?
No, I haven't actually. No, Ruffy?
No, not me.
So it's always good. Somebody could be a star of the future.
Yes, we'd like to wish him all the best. All the best, Declan.
Well done, Declan. Okay, tomorrow, the Scottish Junior Cup draw is something that I think a lot of people will look forward to. We certainly are looking forward to it. We'll discuss in detail tomorrow the Champions League draw, and fingers crossed, we'll be celebrating Hearts putting on a fantastic performance against FC Zurich, which secures Europa League group stage football for the Jambos as well.
Just for a bit of fun, and the viewers, I won't be here tomorrow, but the viewers will be here tomorrow. So I'll ask you, just a wee guess, see how close you get. Tell me the three clubs that you think are going to be in with Celtic.
The three clubs
just have a guess.
that are going to be in with Celtic are Real Madrid are going to be in there, and Inter Milan, and then
Pot B, you need
the Pot B. I'll go with who else was in there? I can't even remember who else was in there.
Got Liverpool in there.
Yeah, there you are. There's the pots there.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to go Real Madrid in there with Celtic. I'm going to go Liverpool, and also I'm going to go with Inter Milan.
Right, Ruffy, Rangers, just to see how close you get, you can look back tomorrow.
Rangers, I'll go Bayern, I'll go Chelsea, and one of the other teams in the other group that I can't see.
Right,
Yeah.
Benfica?
Benfica?
What do you?
No, I don't like them.
No, Borussia Dortmund.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
For the fans going over there.
But you can't have them because you've already picked Bayern.
I'd get Murdo a wee gig as well.
Yeah, what about Napoli?
Yes.
You go for
Well,
Napoli. Okay, there you are.
Maradona still there? Maradona?
Yeah, Tam, it's an absolute joy. I love you coming in on a Thursday as well. So it gives...
That stain doesn't show up in my polo shirt.
I was going to say that
Can you see it?
You can't see it.
Can you see it?
You cannot see it. You cannot see it on the programme. Basically,
Fresh on the night, and only when I get out the motor I noticed it, and I thought,
did you have a wee something to eat then?
no, I don't know then.
Nothing.
Curry for last night.
No, if you think me, my size, after a curry can wear the same top 2 nights running, I wouldn't be able to sit next to you.
Anyway, brilliant to hear from Adam out there. He'll be bringing us the report later on tonight on our social media with regards to Hearts. So fingers crossed for the Jambos and a big win. Apart from that, great to have Tam with us. We'll tell you all about the big meal that we're going to have out. We're going to phone Giuliano's when we get off here, and we'll be on their way to Edinburgh, Ruffy. I'll organise the coach. Thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Tam, and thanks to you for watching. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button and join the football family. From myself, Peter Martin. Have a great night.